Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Global Book Network, the show where we sit down with authors and talk to them about the art and craft. My name is Lobo Boyce, and what long-term watchers of this program knows, I just love sitting down with authors who have a unique perspective on things, and of course, talking about unique perspectives. Please welcome the author of the Finn Adventure series, Debra Sawdy, to the show. Debra, how's it going?
It's going wonderful, Flobo. It's nice to be here. I'm excited. I'm excited to share the message of my books and a little bit about the series, maybe give some hints about what's to come.
Oh, absolutely. But before we even get into the books, let's talk about you for a second. Before we went live, we were talking about really the essence of being an author. You said something that was so profound. Can you share it with us?
Yeah, if you don't feel it here, you can't write about it. So you have to be genuine. And honestly, if you can't feel something, then you have nothing to write about.
Yeah. I just love that so much. A life worth living is a life worth writing. And that to me, it feels like pretty much in lockstep. So let's get down to brass tacks. Finn's Adventures was coming across my desk as a whimsical tale of a kid that really wants to see the world. But I got to ask you, what was the impetus for you? Who was Finn for you?
Finn is actually kind of my friend. I have a really wonderful friendship. We've traveled lots of different places together, shared lots of different things and memories. And, he was by himself for a while, and then I came along, and, we'd go along this journey together. And that's where he came from. But I can't put his name out there because, privacy issues. But
Right.
yeah, so he starts out alone, and trade secrets, he actually is going to get a travel partner, but I'm not going to tell you when that's coming.
Of course, got to keep something for future editions. So, what was a moment for you when you said, "Hey, look, this really real relationship is worthy of being on the page"?
Well, I am a records custodian for my job. It's a lot of paper, and it's very quiet, and you spend sometimes, honestly, daydreaming of what you're doing not in your little cubicle. And that's where I was like, let's go somewhere. Let's do something phenomenal. And I've always been good at writing and science. So I'm not really into, being a bioengineer or anything like that because I'm not good at math. So that's not an option for me. So that leaves writing. And so that's what I do.
Yeah, yeah. If you're good at it, you're good at it. It doesn't necessarily how you get to that path is unique, but it's pretty amazing. When you talk about becoming an author, was that something that you always wanted to do, or is that something you learned over time? Though that you said, "Hey, look, this is the path I want to go down."
Well, actually, my friend that this book is modeled after started writing some books, and he kept saying, "You should write a book. You should write a book. You should write a book." And honestly, I wrote the first book, so he would not say that to me.
Wait, is that a spite book? I don't understand.
I know. I just
I'll
got
show you. Yeah.
tired of him saying you should write a book, and so I did. And then I was like, "Well, you got one book. Now, what are you going to do? What are you going to do with it? What is your whole vision for this?" And it started as just, "Oh, I'll just write one book. Then I'll have, that's fine." And then I was like, "Well, you have such a good message, and I have so many things I want to share. What if I really put it out there?" And so now I have, a library I partner with here in my hometown. I have my adventure box that kids can write or draw pictures to or letters to, and they get something special back in return from me individually. And, it's kind of, I've got a website that I think is phenomenal. I have a really phenomenal website person. I have an amazing illustrator. I found her when I was in the expensive section. Those people that you dream of having work for you, but you can't afford them. And yeah, I saw her artwork and I was like, this is my vision. And well, you never know unless you try. And you never get an answer unless you ask. So I wrote her a note and I said, "Hey, this is my dream. Would you be willing to walk this with me?" And honestly, that's what she has been doing. That's why, most illustrators, their name is in teeny tiny print on the front of the book. I told her, I said, "If you work with me, we'll go all the way together." So her name is in the same font size as mine on the front of the book. On my webpage, she's right by my side. In the back of the book, where I have my letters of encouragement, which are different, which each book for the kids, they're from her and me. And it's just side by side. And that's really anyone that's working with me. That's what we do. We're doing it side by side. I have a team that's wonderful and amazing. And, I have a lot of threads out into the community because of the library that gave me a chance. And that's what I'm doing.
Well, you touched upon a lot of things, but let's focus on the illustration, for example. So again, Lily Ortiz, your illustrator for the series ongoing. You said the relationship works pretty well, but I was kind of curious of how it works, like episode to episode, line by line. Is it kind of like you submit pages? Is it kind of like an overarching storyboarding? How exactly do you work in tandem with an illustrator?
Oh, I wish I had brought it to the table in front of me. So I write a story and then I break it down on what it's going to have page by page. And then I have an idea of what I want for the art page by page. And then she and I sit down and we discuss each page and we go page by page by page. And, it's a back and forth of, hey, I really love this. And she's like, well, that's great, but how about this? And she just takes it to the next level. And
Yeah,
then there are some times when she's like, that's a terrible idea. Or there's the reality that would be nice, but that's a very costly idea because the time it would take to do that.
right.
So how about this instead? It's just amazing. And I did an Instagram post that showed one time we were talking and we were hanging up and she stood up and she had her notebook she was writing in. And I was like, what is that? It was stick people. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what is that? And she goes, well, this is how I figure out how we're illustrating things page by page. She illustrates in stick people and then turns it into the phenomenal art that you see
Yeah.
in my books. I actually have a page of it from her. I said, I need that. It's just so cool. I have it framed in my room. It's just so neat to see that this tiny little literal stick person.
Right. This is your idea. Very, very small. Is it in person, like Zoom meetings, like
Yep, it's
emails? How
it's
do?
it's it's Zoo it's Zoom meetings and emails, and I actually went down to the Houston Central Library, and I did a special event there and with her, and I got to meet her in person live, and we did the event together, and that was a really phenomenal thing. She's such an amazing person.
So when you talk about the evolution of Finn's adventures, about an idea or relationship you had in real life, and really trying to drill that down and share it with others, and then you said, "Hey, look, I have a team of talented people to work help me out." As a creative, I'm kind of curious. Was that kind of like an internal evolution too, to be able to parcel out parts of the vision to others, or was that super easy? Second nature. Some challenges were baked in that. How'd that go for you?
I would say a couple challenges were involved. It's these creative people are all also my life friends. So I decided if you're going to have a vision, let's see how far you can go. I went to each one and I said, hey, this is what I'm going to do. What do you think? And everybody was on board. And I mean, my first community event when I launched in September, I gave away quilts because I have a books and quilts literacy and creativity program. And I have a really wonderful woman named Iris who taught me how to quilt. And she did that whole event with me. I have an IT person who helped me set up everything and made it run phenomenal. I have a sound person who animates my books as I read them aloud. So it's actually a video. I have those. I have Lily who does the art. I have me, and then I have my entire family behind me to say, hey, in that one important moment you really want your mom or grandma to say to you, and that is, I'm proud of you.
Yeah. How'd it feel?
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
just that moment. Because my first book, The Secret Beneath the Snow, was dedicated to my grandma because she's such an integral part of my life. And I gave it to her for her birthday, actually, when she came down to see me from Michigan, which is where I'm from. And I threw her a birthday party and with my friend, actually. It was both of their birthdays, and we had a little thing. And after dinner and after dessert, I gave her a spiral bound, really rough but colorful copy of her book with her dedication page. And when she opened it, her face was priceless. And she flipped through it and she got done reading the dedication. And she just looked at me and she just said, Deborah, I am so proud of you. Man, it's just, that thing where you feel something's right.
Right. It is interesting too. From my writing experiences, there was me specifically, like, oh yeah, I wish people liked the story or the plots or characters, and every so often there's like a little slice of ego, be like, oh, people hope to my book signing or whatever. But that those moments when someone goes, oh, your this presence has changed my life or made my day. You kind of don't see it coming, but then you see it coming, and then it's like still it's like right in the feels. So I'm always curious to see how authors take that. You had mentioned the community events. That's something I thought was pretty cool going through your website about how you're taking this idea and bringing it to the masses. The idea behind that, the growth behind that. I'm so curious to hear.
So I put out, when I first started to do this, letters to every library across the US, honestly. Vegas, Texas, my home library from Michigan, where I grew up. And they actually turned me down. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I grew up here. There's a committee. They said no, I wasn't important enough, was basically what they said
Oh
in an
no.
email. And, and then I had some libraries around here, and I had one library that said, hey, welcomed, open arms, let's do it. Let's get the community together. It's a library that's on a busy street, but the community's behind it. There's a park behind it. And it just took off. We had a massive community event. I brought kids back to the library. Their event coordinator really wanted the kids to come back to the library for a school field trip. And they had told her no. And I said, well, tell you what, why don't I put something together and then you send it to them. And the worst they say is no. You already got it, but let's see. Well, she sent them what I put together. And you know what happened? We had 3 different groups of kids that came to the library for a field trip. We brought kids back to the library.
To me, it's so interesting about getting that buy-in from communities. I kind of upset for you that some libraries are like, nah, we're fine. We're over it. Like that would get me upset. That would probably be really discouraging. What kept you going forward those times you felt like no one was buying in?
That I believe in it. I believe in my message. A lot of people are, oh, I'm an author, I'm a big ego, I'm important, I'm making money. I don't make any money from my books. It all goes filtered back into my literacy and creativity program. It pays the people who print the books, and it pays, things cost. I mean, the adventure box is a cost. The website's a cost. Everything is a cost. I do it solely for the purpose that I have something that I want to say to everyone, because I had kind of a rough time growing up. We'll just leave it at that. And, there are some things I wish I would have learned earlier in life, something that I wish I could have read sooner, some form of encouragement where I didn't have to go to someone else and say, hey, I'm having a hard time. Can you encourage me? And, in the back of each one of my books is a different letter that's generated towards not just kids, but adults as well, because my books walk a fine line between the two. It's things for adults, but it's things for kids. And it just positivity. I just want to put something positive out there. There's so much out there that is negative, or this happened, that happened. Yeah. And positivity, I feel like, is squashed by negativity. It's just like, I used to do working for fast food, or just anything, any business. Though you can have a million positive comments, or even you yourself, Flobo, and that one negative comment will stick out more than any of the positives that have been listed in your comments.
Yeah. Once you said you were in service, I go, yep, I get it.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, man. No, it's interesting because like we live and die by stars nowadays. How many stars can I get, or what my reviews are, and it is kind of, you are putting a slice of yourself out there that someone goes, I don't really get it. You go, what do you mean you don't get me? Like it's kind of like you're attached to the work. I'm so glad you shared that because going through the books, and thank you so much, Addison's Publishing, for providing books 2 and 3. There are a lot of messages to pull from Finn. It was like curiosity and trying new things and overcoming challenges. And the fact you so specifically described that was amazing. And I like the fact that it was by design. So a question I have for you, though, is how do you keep the challenges for Finn fresh and still walk that line between positivity or not making it too insurmountable for him to overcome?
Well, let me back up. So I have been through a lot in my life. And I've listened to other people's stories because I have a really big heart. And if it's 3 a.m., even if you just, want me to be there because you feel like you're having a bad time, I'm the person that'll be there. And the person when you're upset and you're staring at your phone and you're wondering who in this whole freaking contact list you can call, it's going to be me. And that is, what I am. It's just taking what I've been through, what I know other people have been through, and how they have overcome those challenges, how I've overcome some challenges, and that's how I wrap the ending.
Yeah. And so there is a bit of glimmer of hope even during times of despair or times of difficulty.
Even in the dark, there's light.
Yeah. And so you mentioned being able to meet out the community about the book. What's been some of the feedback you've come across, some things you've heard about those who read the series?
The kids love it. I have one kid that at the Houston Central Library, he was listening. He's the only kid that's heard all 94 stories. And at the end of it all, he was like, "You're missing something." And I was like, "I have 94 stories. What am I missing?" Like,
yeah.
And he says, "You don't have a Haunted Mansion story." And I was like, "I don't." And he's like,
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, what would that look like?" And he said, "Well, maybe they have some scary corridors or something they go through." And, anyway, I wrote a whole story right after, I almost got my butt handed to me in a floor chess game by an 11-year-old.
Yeah. Okay. So what a cool moment, right? You have someone that was so passionate that said, "Hey, look, I love this, but I would love to see that." And you responded. How long does it take you to write that one? Just the same day or?
Yeah, it took about 20 minutes.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Talk about being locked in, huh?
Well, those 5-paragraph essays they force you to write in school.
Yes.
Well, and they give you like an hour to do it in paper in front of you, and I'd be done in like 20 minutes, and I'd be like, "Well, what else are we doing?" Because I'm just sitting here. So
Right.
I had one English teacher that actually was so frustrated with me one time because you have to read aloud too, that other horrible thing they make you do that's wonderful and awful all at the same time in school. And she wanted me to read out loud next, and I was almost done with the book, and I said, "Well, where are you?"
Yeah.
She said, "Well, you're supposed to be following along." And I said, "Well, I'm almost done with the
Right.
book." And she sent me to the library to read another book by the author because she was frustrated with me.
See, that's when you're doing it right. When it's like, just go away and figure that out. Like I was very similar as a kid, and I had to do extra homework. They actually gave me separate homework to take home, and that put me right. So that's really cool. The fact that you're able to build a community around that really is appealing to me. So many times authors create and we get so focused on the story that we go, now what? And it kind of like hangs out on a vine. So when you're seeing people come out for the book and you're seeing your tours happen, do you think about next steps of getting the word out for Finn and his adventures?
Yes. And I'm trying to find a publisher to do that, to help, spread it farther. Because I have the threads out in the community here and in random, small places I've gone. And, I've never been a big social media person. So, this, it's all new to me because I'm a little older. I'm not, I'm 41. So
that's not old. Stop.
I'm not trying to make anybody else feel bad, but when I watch people doing TikTok videos and all these other things, and they're being famous and everything, and I'm just like, well, that would be nice to be able to do that, but I wouldn't even know where to start.
Right. Okay. Yeah, it's challenging for authors for sure. And you could outsource that, yeah, but is that balance of, do you want to be front and center, not use it? Do you use AI and not? It could be a whole other can of worms.
I don't use AI. We'll
yeah.
make that very clear. No, I don't use AI. And AI, I'm not going to speak on it too much, but it's wonderful, but I don't think it's true creativity. You're asking something else to create something that is only half you.
Yeah. I'm agree.
That's just an opinion. Don't anybody hate me for it. It's just an opinion. But
I'm not paid for my opinions on this show, but I agree with you. I totally agree with you. I like to create my own stuff. As horrible and as imperfect as it is it's mine. The rapper Eric Sermon used to say, "It may not be nothing, but I wrote this here." Apologize for those of you studying language arts, but it may not be nothing, but I wrote it. So that's the good matters. But Deborah, just learning more about not only the stories and the ones you're writing, but definitely your intention with the franchise has been really inspiring, especially for someone on the outside who really hadn't had that similar opportunities. If someone's watching or listening right now and they want to know more about Finn, or even need to be inspired to create their own version of Finn, how do they go about doing that?
On my website, I have a form at the bottom of the website that immediately sends me a question, a message, anything, or hey, I have an idea for this, for how about Finn to do this, or when he gets his adventure partner, hey, how about they do this, or what about this life lesson? This is what I'm going through. Could you write something on that? And I probably will tell them it's probably coming. It's just not out yet. But
and we've proven it's totally done by humans. That's super important.
Yes. Humans and Sammy. Sammy's at the bottom of my website. Book 2 has goats in it. There's always animals in my books. And I was thinking mountains, and I was like, man, mountain goats. And my illustrator made these phenomenal goats, and I was like, they're too perfect. I need something special. And so she made this like one-horned, moss-eating goat, and it's just phenomenal, and he's so great. I put him on the bottom of my website.
Okay, so that just raises the question though, was there a stick goat version before it was made?
Yes.
That's awesome.
That is why I wish I had the paper in front of me. I didn't. I just grabbed the books in case somebody wanted to see them, but
yes.
No, I don't need to bring that paper. I was looking at it, and now we're talking about it. I'm like, man, I should.
Well, you can let us know, or put it on the website, so make sure you can check it out. Put it in the show notes, because that would be fun to see. This is Global Book Network. Thank you so much for your time, Deborah. It means a lot.
Thank you.